I'm probably going to make crazy faces throughout, as long as we all know that.
All right. Hey, everybody. It's Miss Gobert here, and I am with Jacqueline Richard. She is the school nutrition program director in Calcasieu Parish, and she is an absolute rock star. So I wanted y'all to hear from her because we have been talking about the importance of nutrition and improving academic performance as well as athletic performance and just overall health. And she has made a lot of changes, a lot of really awesome changes to the school nutrition program in Calcasieu Parish. So with that said, Jacqueline, do you mind giving us or telling us a little bit about yourself and your background and your current job?
Yes. Hi. My name is Jacqueline Richard. I am a registered dietitian, and I'm currently working for Calcasieu Parish as the school nutrition program director. Prior to this, I graduated from McNeese State University in my internship and then went back for my master's after that, and mostly was at Christus St. Patrick Hospital in Lake Charles afterwards. So I was first hired as a diet tech, which is something that Allison also did, or Miss Gobert, sorry. I was a diet tech in college, and when I graduated and became a registered dietitian, I started as a clinical dietitian in the hospital on the cardiovascular unit and worked on assessing patients, educating patients, of course, after heart attacks or strokes and all kinds of things. And then eventually worked from our general surgery unit to our rehab, to our chronic conditions unit, and eventually ICU and CCU. So I had a great time as a clinical dietitian. I felt like St. Pat's was a great hospital in terms of being small enough to really meet the people that you work with and get to know other disciplines that are in the hospital, and then also large enough to be able to give you a good diverse patient population.
Yeah.
So I really liked being there. While I was working on the clinical floor, I also began to teach outpatient diabetes classes and see patients newly diagnosed with diabetes one-on-one. And so I enjoyed that time outside of the hospital to be able to have a little bit more time with patients and talk to them specifically about their struggles. So that was good. Then I was offered the position of the Assistant Director of Patient Services at St. Pat's. And that position entailed managing the team of dietitians and diet techs at the time, and then also managing the patient services side of food service, which is what the patients are fed. So that was our tray line staff, our diet office operations, really a very menu compliance. It was very much so in the weeds of food service operations and HR things, everything, scheduling, fires, literal and figuratively. So that was a really great time and a great experience, and it helped me to be ready for the position that I'm currently in.
Yeah. I think it's that's like the perfect testament to where, like you may not know like exactly what your dream job or like your end goal is, but every position can kind of like help you to prepare for what you're inevitably going to be in, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you pull things from all over, from your whole career. You'll pull things that you learned, and it is every step is really important to where you ultimately want to be and where you want to go.
Yeah, and like even the littlest things, like you were educating patients who maybe even like from a wellness standpoint, but also like after cardiac surgeries or even patients who are like sick in the hospital, and like that's going to help you teach kids like why they should eat healthy. Right.
Absolutely.
So
And
oh, what were you going to say?
well, are you getting a lot of feedback from me, or is
no,
it good?
I hear you perfectly fine.
Okay, good.
So I know, everybody has at least been exposed to school nutrition programs, whether it be like the school breakfast program or school lunch program. Like we've all gone to school and we've all been exposed to it. So what do you think like the biggest misconceptions regarding a school nutrition program are, and like are those barriers to what you do?
Yeah, it absolutely is very commonly the perception of school nutrition is not good in a bunch of different ways. In terms of menu regulations, in terms of innovation in our schools. I actually had my computer turn off and I saw that the light got weird, so I'm just going to turn this on really quick.
That's better.
So good. So I would say some of the common misconceptions that we have are that our meals are too healthy, honestly, that they're too healthy and tasteless, and that we're not imaginative when it comes to menu planning. And we're doing a lot of work in Calcasieu to change that, and we do that in a bunch of different ways. As the director of the program, we, just to give you an idea of what Calcasieu looks like, we have 33,000 students in Calcasieu Parish, and we have 60 schools. So it's a big parish. Last year, we fed about 1.5 million breakfasts, 3 million lunches, and 109-ish thousand after-school snacks. So it's a big operation, and it's exciting to be able to make changes that directly affect students' health and well-being. One thing I'll say that really is something that is commonly confused is that Healthy Hunger Free Kids Act. And most people are familiar with the act because it did establish some pretty strict guidelines when it comes to menu compliance.
Right.
And I would say that people often feel that those regulations are too strict and aren't easy to manage. But I honestly disagree with that. I think that they were timely, and that it was honestly a good change. One thing about the Healthy Hunger Free Kids Act that people don't know about is that it helps to ensure that we feed a meal to students for free that need it. In ways that make it so much easier for us as a program and for students. So just as an example, because of that act, this school year we have 37 schools that every student eats breakfast, lunch, and an afternoon snack for free.
My sister actually teaches, or she taught at Henning, where that was the case, and then now she's at Frash, and I think she told me that Frash is transferring to that too.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
That was, I know. So we were able to add 4 schools this school year to that. And so not only is it great for a student that you no longer have to worry about whether you have a lunch to pack or not. The meal that we serve you is going to be healthy, and hopefully you're going to like it and it's going to be good. But also it's helpful as a program because now we don't have to process applications in those 37 schools. It makes it so much easier to be able to give a free meal to a kid. So that's our goal, is to get as many schools as possible so that students aren't worrying about where their food's coming from.
Yeah, great. So do you, like, as a program, is your goal to not only provide that meal, but also to in some extent like try to make the kids actually like it too? Like,
absolutely
for that.
So as when I first got into my role, we established some goals for the department, and the first goal was to increase participation, and is to increase participation, because we want to feed as many kids as possible for reasons that are not only for the health and well-being of the students, but also as a program, it increases our reimbursement.
Okay.
And that makes it so that we're more viable to be able to purchase new equipment and cafeteria upgrades and those types of things.
In person.
So that's absolutely. And so the second goal then is to improve food quality, because realistically, we know that students aren't going to continue to eat with us if they don't like the food. I mean, they just won't, even if it's free. So if we have a meal that's free, but the parent can pack a lunch and they would prefer that, they're gonna try to do that. So we have to compete with that.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, we have to find out what our kids like, try to give them that as much as possible. Of course, we have to meet the menu regulations and the guidelines, and we do, but we try to be creative in how we do that. So yes, maybe they're having a corn dog today, but it is a whole wheat corn dog with, you know, a turkey frank, and it's the healthiest corn dog you've ever seen in your life.
And they probably still like love it, and I would imagine
They love it.
Don't even really know the difference.
Right. And I think that's really the important part, is for them to see that healthy food doesn't have to look entirely different from what you're eating every day.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that whole concept of all food is good food and food is not bad is 100% what we believe here, because we know very, very clearly that if a student is hungry, you're not going to teach them. They're not going to focus. They're going to be out of class. They're going to be absent. So I'm most definitely going to do whatever I can to entice the student to come eat with us, because that's the best way to make sure they're well fed, they're healthy, and they're ready for success in the classroom.
Exactly. So, like, what kind of things do y'all do as a program to make sure that you're providing food that the kids like? Like, how do you know what they want?
So a lot of the things that we do, it's honestly a little bit trial and error. So one thing that we'll do is send out a survey every year to parents and students to say, hey, what was your favorite breakfast? What was your least favorite breakfast? Lunch, suggestions for improvements, menu ideas that we haven't thought about. We send that out every year and get feedback from our customers. And then we also get feedback from our cafeteria staff, because they hear it firsthand and they see it.
Yeah.
Now, thankfully, I also have McNeese interns, and when I have them, we almost every time will go to a school and do a plate waste.
Okay. Yeah.
And so that way we're seeing exactly what's being thrown away. And we can use that information to make better decisions. So sometimes that means, okay, we're going to change this recipe and add something or take something away or just do it differently. And sometimes it means we're going to buy a completely different product.
Okay.
So just a quick example. Last year, we have a pancake on a stick that is whole grain, and it's a very lean sausage, and it unfortunately looked and tasted a lot like just a regular corn dog, which made it odd, and then also made it confusing for our staff, because they sometimes thought that it was the corn dog.
Yeah.
So what we did in that case was we tested a few other ones. And so I reach out to different vendors that can provide a product and say, send me your best product. And from there, we bring it to our students and say, okay, students, what do you like?
Okay.
Now, I have learned that you have to have the right population of students, because The elementary kids are happy that you're there, and they love everything that you give them. And that's wonderful. But it doesn't give you quality feedback.
Yeah.
Now, the high school kids would rather die than talk to you. And so they don't give you quality feedback either.
Okay.
It's the middle school kids.
Okay. They're brutally honest, probably.
They're brutally honest, and they want you to know how they feel, and they're going to give you their opinion. So that's generally, we test with everybody. We don't only test with middle schools, but I have noticed that they're the best at giving
fantastic
honest feedback.
So do y'all like, I know I've seen in the video that you shared with me and I posted on Moodle, they see like Chef Buddy,
Yeah.
Mascot. And so what types of things do y'all do with Chef Buddy? Do y'all do like taste testings and stuff like that?
Yeah, we do. We bring Chef Buddy out if we're doing a new product. So if we want to know how kids like something, we bring Chef Buddy because they're more likely to try it when he's around.
Yeah.
If he is around and encouraging and excited, the whole room is excited, and they're going to try that new thing. And really, statistically, they say it takes 8 or 9 times for a new food to be introduced and for a kid to accept it as something that they would eat. So if you think about it, having them try it that first time is a huge step.
Yeah.
So we bring him for that. We bring him for National School Lunch Week. Honestly, if I have an intern, they are dressed as Chef Buddy and in a school for some reason.
I was wondering who is Chef Buddy. I didn't know if it was y'all's head chef or if it was somebody else.
Yeah, honestly, I've been Chef Buddy. My boss has been Chef Buddy. Every intern that I've ever had has been Chef Buddy.
That's great.
Yeah, you know what, I'm honest with them up front. I say, look, we're going to do all kinds of wonderful things, and hopefully you're going to learn a lot. You're also going to dress like Chef Buddy. And so I haven't had one freak out too much about it. Honestly, they're a rock star. If they get into the costume, the kids are so excited to see them. You never get an opportunity for somebody to be that happy to see you.
Yeah.
So
that's so good. And like it's crazy how just, you know, that one change of having this mascot that can just like encourage like joy and excitement around food, and like that's gonna also help make the like kids' perception of food, instead of being a bad thing that can like make you gain weight or, you know, make you unhealthy.
Right.
It's something that gets, you know, it's part of like being social and having
right.
fun too. So I think that's really awesome.
Absolutely. Food is so much more about, I mean, it's our culture. It's all kinds of things. And we definitely do that. Like and I don't know if other districts have an issue with this or a concern, but some of our schools try to have silent lunches where the students aren't allowed to talk during lunches.
Yeah.
And I really, I discourage that because, you know, eating is a social experience. And, you know, I love going to a cafeteria when it's a little bit of controlled chaos. You know, it's a little loud and a little, you know, hectic, but things are still okay and manageable. So that's the best environment. When I go in and it's super quiet, you can hear a pin drop. And I like to make noise.
They're also like, you know, sitting in a classroom for 7 or 8 hours a day where they're not really supposed to talk, you know, so
right.
You're probably like bursting at the seams by that time.
Absolutely. You create your own disciplinary issues by not allowing them to visit with their friends.
And I know there's also like a push in schools to extend the lunch period.
Yeah.
So what does that look like in Calcasieu Parish?
You know, I don't know what that's going to look like in Calcasieu Parish. I think it's going to be really helpful to get something in writing because right now the only regulation and something to note is that all your school nutrition programs are federally funded, so we follow USDA rules or regulations. So it would really have to come from USDA, and it would need to have specifics because right now it just says that students need a how is it worded? Sufficient. Students need a sufficient amount of time to eat. And so that's what that's what you battle is what does that even mean?
Yeah.
Some of them are 30 minutes, and that's great. Some of them are 15. And they really do need that time to sit and be social. And that really, when you have such a time crunch, that contributes to the whole silent lunch thing, because they don't have enough time
Right.
to talk and eat. And if they let them talk, then they're not going to eat their plate, or eat some of their meal. So it would really be helpful in terms of all of it, but it would have to be specified for someone, because what you're dealing with in the school level is the instructional minute, and everything is going to take a precedent unless you put that in writing.
Yeah. Well, so a lot of my students are in physical education, or elementary education, family consumer science education, and looking for a health promotion minor here at Nichols. So what, for those that are going to be in the school environment, how can teachers and coaches and other school staff like play a role in encouraging healthy eating and encourage like their students to really get how food and nutrition helps with their academic performance in all of that?
Yeah, it's so important, and it's most definitely needed. So one thing that we're doing this school year and the next 4 school years is that we have been awarded a grant from CDC and Louisiana Department of Education to do just that, to focus on physical education, physical activity, improving the consumption of nutritious foods, and managing chronic diseases. So that's the goal of the grant, and I believe all the districts have $10,000 a year to put towards those initiatives. And so the way that looks for us is that there is a school health lead in all of our schools, and that school health lead is generally physical education teacher, or another teacher that's just very interested in health, has a background in health, and wellness. And so we have a wide variety. And so that person is the lead at our school and helps us to implement the wellness policies at the school level.
Awesome. So like
yes,
they're sort of like your champion for getting those things done.
Absolutely. So one thing that they've been kind of assigned is to create a wellness team at every school. So hopefully every school has a team of people, whether it's cafeteria staff or the PE teacher, the custodian. There's a lot of people in a school that plays a huge role in what the students do every day, even out of school time is important. After school care, what are they doing in after school care? Are they exercising? Are they going outside? How does that affect their choices and their healthy choices? So I've really been happy to work with this grant because it has kind of opened my eyes up to all the different people that play a role in student wellness.
Yeah, and that's like what I hoped we would get from this discussion is for my students to like see the tangible ways in which they can really like make an impact on this whole like health and nutrition education aspect.
Yeah.
Because like we've like gone over and over again about how if we can really like encourage healthful behaviors in kids, how much that can affect the behaviors that they bring into adulthood.
Absolutely. And one thing that I'm excited about is this year, one of the things that the school health leads do is they complete a school health index. And this is an assessment that's from CDC. And if that's something you may want to look up and show them. Okay. And it's just a ton of questions about the school environment in terms of student wellness and student health. And so it's, of course, nutrition, physical education, activity, but also social and emotional aspects as well. So what we are trying to do is have a school health index completed on all of our schools so that we can use those funds to put towards the areas that we need to work on. So this school year, what that looks like is that we're lacking in family engagement and community involvement.
Interesting.
So I know. Oh, and health education.
Okay.
So one thing that we decided to work on is a sort of a student health fair or wellness fair that would be in the evening time to get the family engagement, to reach out to some of our gyms and community members to be able to get some equipment or, you know, classes or something, to be able to bring that to our students. And so that's just another way that this is something, the grant is something that I manage, but really all of them are the ones that are doing the work and making the impact. So they're very important.
I think like the purpose of like a grant obviously is like to get something going and then to sustain it somehow. So even without like a grant, you know, my students who will eventually be teachers or PE coaches or coaches in general, like they can, you know, try those things out at their school. Like if they're interested in being that like health champion or wellness champion at their school, like that's something that they can try.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, I think we hit everything that I wanted to talk about. Is there anything else that like you want to add or like think that these students should know?
Just I think it's wonderful that they're in this class and that they are helping to create a healthier generation. That's sort of how I feel about it, is that you know, I spent a lot of time trying to educate and to help people become healthier after a crisis, you know, after a heart attack, after a stroke, after a diagnosis of diabetes. And so the thought of being on the front end and creating a healthier generation that may not have to deal with that much health concerns is really exciting. So I love it. I think it's great, and hopefully they'll go on and do great things.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you so much, Jacqueline. I'll leave, like, in case anybody wants to ask you any questions or like learn anything else about what you're doing, I'll leave them your contact information if you're okay with that.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, so y'all will watch this video and then answer the forum discussion that I'm going to post. So hope y'all enjoyed it, and thanks again, Jacqueline.
Thank you.
All right, I'll see you later.
Bye.